to me it's not weird, but to other people they're like, man, here's another actor that thinks she can sing. What's going on? And I'm like, just let me sing.
Chrissy Metz, thank you so much for being here with us at iHeartRadio. How are you today?
I'm good, and thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm good. You know, I'm hanging in there. We have a little rainstorm here, so I'm just enjoying the soft sounds of the rain.
Ooh.
So it's a little cozy vibes now.
Yeah, I love the cozy. I mean, it's been raining off and on here in Nashville, but today it's really sunny, which means I'll probably stay inside because it's hot.
I forgot about the humidity down south, honestly. That is, it's not good for my hair, honestly. But I was telling you right before this, I was jamming out to Talking to God because I love this song. I can't wait to talk about your new music, but this one especially. And, you know, I'm a spiritual person, so even hearing that song and being like, your name came up, there's so many people that I think of in that. Tell me a little bit about this song. How did this one come to life?
Yeah, so this was actually found at Ashley McBride Writers Retreat, and awesome. All the writers that were there I'm friends with, and my manager obviously is close with most of them. And so I heard the song and I was like, wait, who's gonna cut this song? And he's like, I don't know if it's gonna make Ashley's album. You know, she's kind of letting other people listen to it and see if they dig it. And I'm like, wait, I want to record it, I want to cut it, and it just made sense for me, and I totally understand the sentiment, and I loved, you know, the twist and for country music for me is so interesting in that I always want to know what turn and the twist is, you know, from the verse to the chorus, and I just thought it was super cool. You know, I was talking to God last night and your name came up. I love that. Even if the people aren't in your life anymore, you know, you can still think sweet things about them and pray for them, and you know, I think that's really important because I always say that you can't keep anything you don't give away. So it's the song sort of, I feel like, encapsulates that sentiment for me.
Now, taking it back a little bit, have you always loved country music? Has that always been the sort of genre you've gravitated towards?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up listening to country music. I grew up listening to every genre of music. Really, really love Motown, and you know, rhythm and blues, folk, country music. But I've always loved the storytelling of country music and like where it came from, and I don't think any other genre of music really tells a story like country music. And I really do want to be a storyteller, and I feel like in my acting I am, and music is not much different, although we have a melody and, like, you know, a band or some instruments. Right. But it's like a monologue, you know, it's like a scene in a TV show or a movie. So but yeah, I've always loved country music.
Who do you think, going back to country music, who do you think is a really talented lyricist that you sort of get lost in the story of their lyrics?
Oh gosh, Hillary Lindsey, Natalie Hemby, oh goodness, obviously John Prine. Yeah, I mean, there's so many, it's so hard to choose, but yeah, I think that some people are just so talented and gifted in that storytelling, because songwriting is not easy, and good songwriting, forget about it. Yeah. So
truly, I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
But now you're coming out with a new album soon, yes? And you've been creating it during quarantine?
Yeah, so we came here to finish the album, and we were only planning on being here for 2 weeks and then going on a tour for 12 or 13 cities, and obviously everything got postponed. So we've just been writing, and we've written a couple of songs that are probably going to make the album, and hopefully the album will come out before the end of the year, but we'll see. I think if not, an EP a 5 or 6 song EP will be coming out. But yeah, we were just trying to be creative. I mean, a lot of Zoom calls and Zoom writes, trying to get together. But you know, you're like, oh, everybody feels so sort of stifled, but you do the best you can with whatever the circumstances are, and you write about what you're feeling. So it's been fun.
It's interesting to me because I've heard a couple people say Zoom co-writes. What is that experience like? Do you still feel the same sort of emotions you would if you're in a writer's room? How does that translate to your music?
Well, luckily the people I've written with on Zoom, I've written with before. So like we know each other, we're friends, so we get each other's vibe. I think it would be really tough to have a first write with someone that you've never met on Zoom, because it is about energy, and it's about meeting and really having a rapport, or at least establishing like a foundation of a connection. And you can't really do that via Zoom, although, you know,
do what you can.
I guess anything's possible, but it does make it a little more challenging. But it's still, I'm still grateful that we can do that, you know, but it is definitely weird in the beginning.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
And are there any collabs on this upcoming album, or anyone that you're hoping to collab with?
Yeah, I mean, I have, you know, my dream people, and I know that it really comes down to timing and the right song and all that jazz, so I don't know who, and I don't know when or how or any of that, but definitely out into the universe I have put my manifestations.
Yes, manifested.
Yeah.
Now, so many people also know you as your character Kate on the critically acclaimed show This Is Us. Does playing such an emotional character like Kate ever bleed over into your personal life, or maybe your creative life as Chrissy?
Oh, wow. Well, you know, I do think it's made me really comfortable with being even more vulnerable, or vulnerable in a way that like is very honest. I literally have no qualms about crying wherever I need to cry, whatever I'm feeling, whenever I'm feeling it. And I really think that is attributed to playing this role that like Kate just wears her heart on her sleeve, and she does it imperfectly. And I don't know, I think I've established some courage from playing the character, because I also think that so many people are embracing how she is and how she walks through life, and so I'm like, oh, okay, so it's not a bad thing, it's not scary, even though I've always been sort of emotional. I think it's just been magnified in a very real way. So yeah, I do think that it helps in songwriting, it helps in telling your stories, but also just sort of getting to the root of what's really going on.
You know, one time my therapist told me, you know, it was like my very first therapy session in New York, and she was like, I was nervous, I didn't know where to start, and she's like, if you just start one place, normally it all leads back to the center. And she's like, start anywhere. And I think that's so true. It's oftentimes so much of what we're struggling with comes back to this same center that we haven't dealt with before.
Oh, because it will hunt you down. Yeah.
It finds you in different ways. It transforms, it manifests.
Yes. Morphs, and you're like, wait, I thought I was good. What? I'm still feeling this? Okay. Let's go back to what's going on. I know, it's a process, but thank goodness for therapy.
Thank God for therapy. Yeah. Amen.
Yes.
Now, do you think, I mean, going back to your character Kate, do you think this is one of those characters that Kate is going to stay with you for a really long time after the show's wrapped, after it's done?
Yeah, I think the show in its entirety is something that we've never really seen before, because the writers, Dan, our creator, really taps into what everybody's going through, and things that we don't talk about or we're afraid to even touch upon, whether it's paternity issues or loss, weight issues, anxiety, depression, you know, all of those things that, you know, they might scratch the surface in other projects, but this is really what it's about. It's like, how do we deal with life on life's terms? And I think the show's been sort of a blueprint for people, and sometimes even for me, of like, how do I approach my family about a particular topic? Or like, I don't know how to say this, you know, or I didn't know I was feeling this. And so I think it's inevitable that I would continue to sort of like have those feelings linger about such a character as Kate and in the show. So, and I hope so. I think she will.
And now for this next season, you know, obviously COVID has sort of put the world on pause. Are there any plans to resume the show? Do we know what's happening for next season?
Yeah, so Dan Fogelman, our creator, he tweeted, I think probably a week and a half ago, that we were going to touch upon what's going on in our current climate, and, you know, as far as our history and the things that need to change in our country, but also COVID and how that affects the Pearsons as a whole and as individuals. So, yeah, I know we're going to touch on those subjects. I just don't know when. I think that we're trying to just get everything in place for the safety of the crew and the cast and everybody. But, you know, it's not an easy feat. There's probably, you know, 200 to 300 people involved in our show and having to be tested multiple times a week and what that's going to look like. So I hope that we'll be getting back to work soon. But again, every single day is different because new information is being, you know, discovered and all that jazz. So I hope soon.
Fingers crossed on that.
Yes.
And now I want to just touch on your music really quick before we go to being both an actress and an artist, like a music artist. Do you ever find it difficulty to cross into and out of those worlds?
You know, I don't find it difficult because, like I said earlier, I feel like they're so similar. Is there's just a band or there's just instruments. You know, a song is basically a monologue, or it's a scene, or it's a space and time that TV and film really captures. But I think it's harder for other people to see an actor who wants to be a singer or a singer who wants to get into acting, because they're like, oh, but what? I thought you're just one of those things. But there's so many people who aren't just one thing. None of us are just one thing. And especially if you see theater actors and Broadway actors, they do it all, sing, dance, and act. And so I'm not sure why it's such a jarring event for people to say, like, oh, well, why does an actor want to be a singer? I think they're so similar. And I do think that sometimes you just have to warm people up to a new idea. And so I think that's probably the biggest thing, really, because, I mean, I've loved music all my life, and I've wanted to sing even before I knew I wanted to act. And so to me, it's not weird, but to other people, they're like, man, here's another actor that thinks she can sing. What's going on? And I'm like, just let me sing. Just let me express myself.
Just wait till you hear the album.
Yeah. And so, and I get it. Like, we all sort of need to be acclimatized to change and something that's new. So I get it, but I think that's probably the biggest thing.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And so, Chrissy, before we let you go, one last thing. We always do a fun little game, not a game, but a fun question. So we're iHeart, we heart you. What are 3 things that you heart right now?
Oh my goodness, guys, I really love popcorn.
What kind? Do you like the bag or the microwave?
So there's a really sweet Amish country store about 20 minutes away in Nolensville, which is a little city outside of Nashville. And an Amish, there's like Amish popcorn, Amish butter. So we grab just a bag of popcorn and we make it on the stove. And yes. I'm not kidding you, like, I'm obsessed with it. I love that. And I love Cree Harrison's new album. She is amazing and wonderful. I love, what else do I love? I love buying fresh flowers. Just putting them through the house because I don't know, they just make me happy. So those are
up the space.
3 things.
I love
Popcorn, Cree Harrison, and flowers.
The only 3 things you need, honestly.
Really, honestly.
Chrissy Metz, thank you so much for being here. So nice to meet you, and we can't wait for the album to come out soon.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye, Chrissy.
I know. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to stream all of Chrissy Metz's music on iHeartRadio, including her 2 new singles, Talking to God and Actress. Hope you enjoyed the interview, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.